I'm unsure why it's 26 degrees. There's really no excuse for that on New Year's Eve. Just overlook the trash along the side of the road. That is not tornado trash. That is because I live in a somewhat of a small neighborhood where there's a lot of white trash that just throws their garbage out on the side of the road. And believe it or not, it's not kids. I know who a bunch of it is. Thanks to cameras. I want to show you something though, and this doesn't have anything to do with whining. I want to show you something really pretty. This is a ridge. This is the Anniston bypass. And it's probably one of the prettiest spots in Alabama to me on a crystal clear morning when there's barely anybody awake. I slept a little late this morning. To your right, if I don't cause a wreck, you probably can't see it because I can't either yet. Yeah, to your right, that little white dot on the ground is the Jacksonville State University's library. That's what's fascinating to me. I mean, that thing's only about 10 minutes away driving, but as the dog walks, that's a long way. And I'm going to take you on a hill that's also beautiful here in a second, so you can see it before the world wakes up. You see that mountain over there? One of these days I'm going to climb that mountain. One of the interesting things about this hill, it's not really a mountain. Actually, you know what, we need to go a different way since it's a little wet out here. This all used to be Fort McClellan, and it was beautiful. It's still a pretty piece of property. It's just it's a shame that the that Fort McClellan closed, because it was the lifeblood of this city. I'll just go ahead and show you all this. There's no reason to keep you stuck to the hood. I need the handle to put back on here. They made a city ordinance. There it is. I'm not going to say as far as the eye can see, because the eye can see past those hills. But this is the Anniston bypass. All of this used to be Fort McClellan. Then after it closed in the 90s, years and years of mismanagement left it sitting stagnant and everything's falling apart. But I think there's a actually, I don't think. But we're gonna go up there. I want to show you this place. It's absolutely beautiful. I've been up here a lot. I mean so much that long before the place was closed, I had some friends who willing to go with me. A lot of people were afraid. These were all roads. This used to be a mountain road that went all the way up over, and it dropped off on the other side, and then it would pop into Lake Yahoo, which is right up there. Then there was a lower road down at the bottom. The bypass wasn't there. There were a couple of rinky-dink roads where the soldiers trained, but at the bottom of the valley down in there, I can't see my finger, there was a kind of a washout road that went way up there to Lake Yahoo. But all these road tops had roads on them, and they still do. And I may be mistaken a little bit. There may have been a dirt road through here. I came through here after they did the first bulldozing and surveying, or surveying then bulldozing, to just, you know, to open it up and try to start piling up enough dirt to make it a 4-lane highway. I came up here when it was dirt on my mountain bike, and just to see it. It's where I encountered the biggest rattlesnake I'd ever seen in my life. It's such a pretty place. I started this off with something about a city ordinance. I've always loved Fort McClellan, because even though I grew up from child to high school, and then from oh, there's a little bird nest. See, those birds are probably safe, except they're so close to the ground, I would imagine a fox or anything could get them. It is December 31st. This is the way I like to spend my New Year's Eve. And tonight, about 8 or 9 or 10, maybe 11 if I'm a big boy, I'll be asleep. So I can do this again tomorrow in another spot in Alabama, because there's some absolutely beautiful places. There's a longleaf pine. That wasn't what I was going to show you. And if I'm not mistaken, shortleaf pine. I know the sun's in your eyes, but just enjoy it. I absolutely love the sun in my eyes. Sure, it's painful sometimes when you're driving. It's overbearing. But look how high we're getting. Isn't it beautiful up here? We'll be to the top in a minute, and then you'll see the sun pop over. It was 26 degrees. Actually, it was colder than that when I started the journey. I know I'm rambling. I just, to be honest with y'all, I'm tired of living in a shell, hidden all the time. I did it for years. Oh, here we are, first step. Now you can see it better. Do you see the white dot? The tallest building far off. I hope you can see that. I can't even point to it. Oops, there's a state trooper down there. They can't get that little mom's rig up here. They could catch me on the asphalt, but they can't get up here. But that's Jacksonville State University. And then all those buildings down there are what was once part of Fort McClellan. Isn't it amazing? And behind us, behind the camera, not behind the wagon, is Anniston. And when I get up here and stop in a minute, I'll get my stories lined up chronologically. There's mountain bike trails all through here. There's horse riding all over here. There's a road that runs the top of the whole thing. Now it ends over there somewhere. There's the very top is the Longleaf Preserve. I know you probably don't care about any of this stuff, but the shell, the box, the hole I've been living in all these years to not tell anyone where I am, or where I'm from. I think I told you I was from Anniston finally. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in Birmingham, so I always just went with Birmingham because people know where that is. But isn't it beautiful? And the sun is even higher now, to a painful amount of height. So let's keep rolling. Yeah, we're going up even higher. I know it's hard to tell. We might can tell like this. Oh, the reason I said that they come out with a city ordinance and then went into the McClellan Development Authority and all that was because of that bomb I found. I did find it on Fort McClellan. It was in the I don't think it was called Longleaf. It was called the an outdoor, I don't know. It's a little experience park thing. Sorry, it's a little bumpy, so I'm a little bit struggling to get up there. There we go. Oh, the sun's back in your eyes. I gotta get up here before it pops up over the whole hill. And get turned around, I want you to see it. There's one airplane. Someone's flying somewhere on New Year's Eve. Where are they going? Look at it now. How do you like me now? You know, speaking of that, Toby Keith, I did not realize it, had stomach cancer. It still does, I think. This is as far as you can go. I mean, you can't really get up here and get hurt. But I do know, back on the city ordinance thing, that and I hope they don't. So if anybody from the McClellan Development Authority is watching this, don't close this just because I drove up here. There's not a single sign that says you can't. And the only reason you think that people shouldn't be able to do things is because you think you're going to get sued. There it is. That is not downtown Anniston. That is Sachs, Alabama. That is West Anniston with the little bitty smokestacks coming up. Somebody put a pine tree in front of me that used to not be so tall. Let's go around it. I know you can't see anything. You know, I'm out here just rambling. Let me put my hoodie on and we'll get out and get a, hold on a second, a BEV. I'm wrong again. I mean, that's part of Sachs. A lot more Sachs is over there. A BEV is a bird's eye view, of course. That right there was the first Walmart I ever remember. It's not there anymore. It's a Big Lots and whatever else rolls into town when everything else goes away. Behind it is oh, I can't get my eyeballs focused. Now I'm glitching. I don't even know where I am. Oh. Through these trees, if you can see that little dot over there, is Sachs Elementary School. That's where I went to elementary school. Miss Wedgeworth was my first grade teacher. I don't know why I remember that. She's probably the only teacher I remember besides Miss Ballard, who taught botany at Gadsden State Community sound it out. Okay. Community College. Okay, let me clear it up. Behind all that is a cemetery. Oh my goodness. Let's look back over here again. You want to? But here's the kicker. I have over the years found thousands of soldiers' ammunitions, maybe less than 50 grenades, all training grenades. Only one live bomb. They say it was live, but I think they just wanted to keep it for themselves and somebody probably took it home. But whatever. I'm okay with that. Because when this was Camp Ship, before it was even Camp McClellan, and before it was Fort McClellan, and before it was closed, they trained nearly as far as you can see, everywhere. I mean, everywhere. There is the, let me back up. Oh my goodness, it's so cold. I know I'm just talking and pointing and you're not following me very well. I know that. There's a Lowe's below us. There's a Walmart over there. I have found the tops, the pins, the pull part of a grenade. We need to move. That's why I can't tell where I am. Save your seat. I've also wondered why people in videos cover up their license plate. Because, oh my goodness gracious, it's cold. Because you ride around with it showing to everybody. You go to Walmart and everybody sees it. But I guess the thing is, I guess people think sometimes, I don't know, I guess there are people in the world who want to do cruel and harmful things. Like that song, It's a Cruel, Cruel Summer. Okay, we're about to get a better view. You ready? Oh my goodness. It's freezing up here. I want to show you a little pocket knife too that ThruNite sent me. It's actually pretty cool. I know y'all probably tired of that stuff, but it's so much fun getting it in the mail and showing it to you. I'll move that. Better view. Sachs Elementary School. Right there. That little bitty corner restaurant just before it down there, it ain't a restaurant, it's a store, used to be called Sachs Jr. I used to walk there when I was a little kid and buy stuff. I'd ride my bicycle there. On behind, let's see, first building you see, second building you see, that's what, 1, 2, 3 stories tall, that's Sachs Elementary. The building way up behind it is Sachs High School. I left Sachs High School in 8th grade and went over to Germany. And that's where I did the remainder of my personhood until I came back and graduated from Oxford High School in 1986. And then, after I graduated, I went back to Germany. I just didn't see a future for me here. Probably the best move I ever made. Not that this is a bad place, but it was best for me. But I lived, okay, Sachs Junior, Sachs Elementary, Sachs High School, there's a little church, and there's a little ridge and some little houses over there, and I'll take you over there in a few minutes, is where I grew up. I rode my bicycle from here to Gadsden, which is 26 miles that way, when I was a little kid. I know that doesn't mean anything to y'all, but wouldn't do that now. But Fort McClellan, when it was Camp Ship, they trained everywhere. Everywhere I heard. What I was telling you, I know you think I forgot the story. There's Walmart way over there. There's Lowe's right there. And that's Anniston Middle School, this little pod. I know every time I'm pointing out there. You see, there's a car that I used to sit in, and there's the sunshine. This hand is so cold. But all of this they train. And what I was telling you is, all over here I have found bullets. Around the middle school, Lowe's, Walmart. There's ammunition all over the place. I found pieces of grenades across the creek from Lowe's, the street from Lowe's. Everything's a creek in my head. That little yellow thing poking up right somewhere in there, maybe it's over here, was a church. No, it was a school. It was a church first. I believe it was a Catholic school. And somebody worked there and stole all their money, so they had to shut it down. Anyway, this place is just fascinating to me. And when you get up here and look at it from up here, it's beautiful. You can still, there's plenty of roads out there to ride legally. And this is not an illegal road. There are no signs and no anything. It probably will be after this, because a bunch of old men are going to sit around in a circle and say, he just gets to do too much without permission. But that's okay too. I know more about this property than they do. They paid millions and millions of dollars to have environmental cleanup crews, EOD specialists come in and clear this whole thing out. You can't metal detect out there anymore. You can't treasure hunt out there anymore. You can still look in creeks and walk around and piddle, but you're not allowed to treasure hunt. It's my bad on that. But the bomb I found had just washed out of a bank, and it was in a little kids park where my kids had actually went on field trips. So I felt obligated to turn it in, which I did. And then they went to the next step of threatening to sue me for trespassing and all this other stuff. And I was like, how am I trespassing when this is city property and it's a kids park? But we won't go down that road again. That I tend to go down there every time I go through this area. But it's beautiful, isn't it? To me, it's beautiful. And my best memories of being a kid in this area is there's John B. Lagarde Museum. Where is it? Oh my goodness, my hands are so cold. Okay, it's down at the bottom here. I believe that's one of these places is where they made the Anniston Star newspaper. And down in the hole is the museum, Anniston Museum of Natural History. If you've never been there and you come to Anniston to find me, before you come looking for me, go there. Everybody that works there is wonderful. Dan the Animal Man is amazing. One of the nicest guys you ever meet. The ladies there, the lady that my youngest son Simon worked for, Amy I believe is her name, absolutely wonderful lady. And all the ladies that work there, I don't know many of the men, but you can get on the Anniston Museum of Natural History website and see them. They're all so nice and do so much to promote the museum. I mean, there's a lot going on around here. It's just, oh no, there's no it's just anything. I am freezing. So let's get in the wagon and I'm gonna take you on a cruise through my miniature hometown and show you the house I lived in. I wasn't born there. I was born in a house in Oxford, Alabama that's been torn down. Oh my goodness, it's cold. Okay. I'm in the wagon. Get my seatbelt on. Put it in forward. I'd often thought, if I ever grow up, I want to be on Anniston City Council. And then I pulled up a picture of everybody on Anniston City Council. And I think you have to wear a suit and a tie. And I only own one suit. The only ties I own are from the 80s when I lived in Japan in early 90s. And that's just not my thing. And I thought, well, they'd never let me come play because I'm like the dirty biologist who teaches at a university. You know, I don't enjoy dressing up. Although I did the night. We have some friends who I don't know what they really think about me, but we have some good friends that I consider good friends, and I'm sure my bride does too. But they invited us to a Christmas gala where we dress up, and my bride and I had so much fun. Thank you, Stephanie and Brandon, for inviting us to that. I know you don't watch my videos, but if you did, you'd be watching this video and you'd hear me say that. So we got dressed up and went. I went and bought a suit. I was so fancy pants. I wanted to look like, who's the guy that was on, oh my goodness. Oh, I don't know his name. Let me Google it. Is it, hang on, I'm Googling something. Well, dude, why don't you do that when you're not on here? His name is Liam Nilsson. Suit, no tie. Yeah, Liam Nelson. And then I got to looking, and nobody really wears ties anymore. I don't even know, how did we get on that? Oh, I wanted to be on city council. I didn't want to wear a suit. I went to the gala, I bought a suit. We got dressed up. We had a lot of fun. The band was good. They didn't play band on the run. That's about all there is to it. Isn't it pretty up here? Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. You gotta ask yourself, what's 6 more scratches, right? On your wagon. All that clunking you hear is old man Emu suspension on this truck. It was like that when I got it. And I don't know what the deal with it is, but it clunks and rattles and pops and squeals and makes so many noises. But I can get an old Blue. She's an 87 Ford Ranger. Y'all know her. Most of you do. The few of you left that watch my videos, which is perfect for me. Yeah, there's what we got. I say we because y'all are part of it. We got what, 100,000 subscribers to the channel, and and we get, what do we get, about 2,000 views per video or something, and that's all we need, isn't it? Because sorry, I'm checking my plan of exit here. I don't like putting this truck in certain twists and torques and turns and all that. But anyway, I have reasons for all the stories I start to tell that don't finish, but I forget. I think we're free. Speed limit 65. I'm going about 15. It appears that people have woke up since we got out here. Whoa, you got your head twisted up in the air. I think we turn the heat down now. I'll swap tires with Gabriel. Gabriel's the one who cheers for Kentucky. There's a reason I'm going to post this second coming out of the closet video, and it's because I'm getting ready to retire. By the time you see this, I may have already been retired. It's hard to tell these days. I just come to the conclusion you can only spend so much time around the most overpaid, greatest pooling of ignorance you could ever consolidate into one area. And, you know, to get out as early as you can is to not lose your sanity. Now, that's not everyone. There's actually a yeah, what the heck? I'm just going to tell you, it's Anniston Army Depot. But finally, after all these years and all the years I've worked there, young lady named Abby, and I'm so happy for her. She and I hired in at the same time at Anniston Army Depot when I had just three little children. I had the Rune, I had Gabriel, and I had my oldest squirrel. Her name's Autumn. I finally got a job out there, and I thought, this is amazing. And ever since I've had the job, I've been incredibly thankful. It's always like every day I was at work, no matter how crummy things got. You know how you go to work and you just get burnt out and you think, oh, I gotta get out of here. I never forgot what I felt like the day before I got the call that said, hey, you want to come in for an interview? Because I was going to college, trying to finish college. I was cutting grass and doing landscaping around the clock, and that's no lie. I was cutting a cemetery in Ohatchee, Alabama. I'm talking about, it took 2 days. There's not a worse job. Okay, there are worse jobs. There's not a worse grass cutting job than cemeteries all by yourself. There's 1,000 headstones, 100 of them halfway buried. They poke up, they kill your lawnmower. It's 120 degrees in the daytime. So I finally learned how to rig up lights on my old John Deere 318. And I would cut grass at night. So I remember those days of working hard, and then I got a little bit better paying job right before I hired on. Worked on a farm out in Lincoln. The guy had it was more like a little exotic animal farm. That's what he thought it was. I mean, he had a few peacocks, he had a miniature horse, and a few other odds and ends. I'm trying to think of what else it did. I'm giving you my whole life story here. I'm tired of having secrets. I'm tired of not being able to talk to y'all openly about where I am, things I love, things I do. Now, there's not a whole lot to do and find around here. I'll admit that. You know, I do travel all over the place. There's only so many creeks around here, and so you gotta get out. Anyway, I'm gonna show you. Okay, that's what we were looking at from the mountain. The mountain is behind us. It's called Christian Corner Meats now. That used to be Saks Jr. It was the grocery store we went to before Walmart came to town. And then on the hill right there is Saks Elementary School. It's a different color. I haven't been over here in a while. We're gonna go up there. Wow, it looks kind of good. Not my choice of colors, but hey, it looks a lot better. When I was in elementary school, this was the playground right here. This big tree and this little flat part of grass. And right over here was an old red car. It was, I believe, early 50s or 1940s shell of a car. And if you went to Saks Elementary back in the 70s or any time around there, there's the school, then you know that was the playground. The car had nothing. It had the metal spring seats left, no cloth left on it. It had the steering wheel, and you get in it and you get cut and you have fun, and it was the greatest thing in the world. Everybody wanted to sit in the driver's seat. But this is it. This is Saks Elementary School. Didn't look this fancy pants when I went here. They didn't have that metal building, no trespassing. or persons during or after hours. That is Sachs Middle School. Right there. Let's keep going. Right up there is where I learned I didn't know anything about basketball. But of course, by this age, elementary school age, I had come to the conclusion that I would be one who played outside all my life. I can't tell if this thing is straight or not. Is it straight? You see my fingers? And if I'm not mistaken, this school has closed. And then right up there in front of us is Sachs High School, where I really learned that I didn't want anything to do with sports. Not that I dislike sports. I'm not going to get out again, but I'm going to turn you around so you can see. There's the stadium. When I was in 8th grade, which is the only year I did in high school here, during our PE class, we would have to clean up the bleachers after a game. And I don't know when games were back then or anything, how it worked. I don't even know what I was doing, but I didn't do well in school. But I decided, why do I gotta clean up this mess when all these people made the mess and had all the fun? Anyway, that was it. I remember the racial fights here at Sachs Elementary School. I remember the first two black students that came to this school. And unless I'm mistaken, their names are Freddie and Winnie. And you could park over here on the grass. When I went to school here, people would park in the grass all over here and everywhere. But I remember fights in the parking lot used to scare me to death. I mean, I was just 8th grade. It would still scare me to death. I can't stand it. But this was pretty much it. Now, of course, it's changed a whole lot. And I don't remember. Yeah, the gym was always right here. But I remember being in band, marching band, and we would go down these steep steps over here down to the gym. The field down there. Now let me tell you another cool part of my life. One of the best parts of my life always involved getting out and wandering around through the woods and everything. There was a little store down here. Oh my goodness, what was it called? It was a hardware store. And I may be mistaken, maybe it was called Sachs Jr., but I don't think so. I think Sachs Jr. was a grocery store. There was a hardware store. This was... Well, I don't even know years anymore. It was right here where it says Brooks Tire. You could go in there at any age and we would buy little pieces of gum out of a bucket for a penny. We would buy a pack of BBs and a pack of cigarettes if you wanted it. No matter how old you were, you could always go in there and buy a pack of cigarettes. I played my first and last t-ball game right here. I was more interested in what was underneath the ground and what was in the ground around me than I was standing around waiting on somebody to hit a ball towards me. I don't know if any of this is used anymore. Looks like it might be. But I've walked every street around here. I walked every ditch around here. I've been in every creek around here long before I got out of high school. I rode my bike everywhere. I don't even remember what kind of bike it was. I remember, let's see, we're going to turn left right here. Oh, I know, I'll tell you something cool. Used to, well, you can't anymore. You would drive up in there and you could park all along the front of the school over here. I'm moving over. The students did. And I remember this guy had this car, I think it was green or blue, it was like a Malibu or a Chevelle or something. And it was jacked up big in the back and had big wide tires, little skinny tires on the front. And he was playing, I believe, it was a Journey song, maybe Don't Stop Believing. I don't know when that came out, so I may be wrong. But I thought, man, that dude's cool right there. This house on the left, or the one right in front of you, that's wrapped in plastic and falling down, I used to think was a castle. I used to think that was, I thought, man, who has the money to live in something like that? It's just huge. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the house I live in now isn't much bigger than that, but back then, it was like a castle. And this was actually a pretty little neighborhood, neat and clean. I remember this road to the left, there was a girl named Robin Fuller. I can't remember that. We're gonna pass it. Man, that's a good looking girl right there. Asbury Avenue. This is it. This is where I was as a little bitty tiny person. Let me see if I remember any people. There wasn't so much garbage everywhere. There wasn't so much crap piled in people's yards. People just didn't live like that back then. The house on the left, the last one you see right now, is there were two girls that lived there. I forget their name. Miss McGinnis lived over here in the greenhouse on the left. When dogs, she was old back then, when dogs would get stuck together when they were little, she'd run out in the yard and holler at the kids, "Don't look! Don't look!" She'd drag a hose out and hose them off. I had the next greenhouse on your left, I had a great aunt and uncle that lived there, and they would pay us $1 to cut their grass, and they had lots of money. This hideous monstrosity was the house I lived in, that I remember from my youngest ages up to 8th grade when we left. Used to have a big old dogwood tree in the front and a massive oak in the back. This house was our neighbors that we fought with all the time. I say we fought with. They is just the boy. I'm giving you the scoop on what I remember from school. this house had a family called the Perkles that lived in it, and I thought they were cool too. They had dirt bikes and they could ride wheelies up these roads. It was so cool. It was cool to me. Let's keep going. Y'all want to keep going? If you're tired of this, there's probably a lot more funner. You don't know what just happened, but I was talking and my camera turned off. And as I will put my fingers on it and the felt of it, it was incredibly hot. And then when I turned it back on, it said important notice. Your camera got too hot, that's why it turned off. There was our school bus stopped right here, and I think the girl lived right back there. Maybe she walked up this road. Melissa would get off the school bus. She was a pretty little girl too. I started to say pretty little thing, but that sounded kind of sexist, and that's not what I mean at all. But I want to show you something before the camera died. None of these girls are my girlfriends. I was scared of girls. I was absolutely terrified. I never talked to girls. I never approached girls. I like girls. Okay, this house on the right now, that's where Don and Leslie Smith lived. I remember Don had a, let's turn around. Don had a motorcycle. He had a mini bike. And it was an Indian. It was an Indian something. It was, to us, it was the perfect size. But it looked like a real motorcycle, just miniature. And it was gray or silver or something. It wasn't a shiny silver. But I thought, man, this is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I had a friend that lived in a house right here on the left. His name was Brian. They were pretty poor. I don't even think they had complete windows in their house back then. But I remember my mother didn't like me to go visit him because they, I don't know why. Maybe she knew something about their parents that I didn't know. I had to open the window so this thing doesn't overheat again. But that's pretty much it. That's my entire childhood stateside. Oh, get out of the road, little squirrel. But this is it. This is the neighborhood where I stomped. So let's get out of here and we'll look around some other places. Up on the right was Wildcat Pond. It's closed now, but a good friend of mine named Chad, he owned it for a long time, then he went in business with somebody else. Probably one of the nicest guys I've met in many, many, many years. But I look back and I think he's a lot younger than me. I don't know. Man, he looks young. But he's just got a joy about him that's what's the word for not mistakable? There's got to be words for that. Anyway, he's one of those guys. I think I wished I'd known him when I was a kid. I wish we'd have been kids together. I don't get enough time to go see him like I want to with all my offspring, but anyway, you ever look back and you meet people and you think, man, we could have been good friends. Okay, so pressing on. Let's go out. Let's leave Saks And I want to show you the mountain we were on. Oh, there's a bunch of chickens in the road. Let's leave Sykes and head back up the hillside. Am I the only one that stops at, whoops, red lights or stop signs and looks, rolls down the window and looks outside to see what's on the ground? You never know what you might find there, right there on the ground. Oh, this is the museum. If you ever go to the museum, run in there and hang on a minute. Let's just cruise over there. Although I blew it, I'm in the left-hand turn lane. Fun fact, Anniston Museums and Gardens area. It's a fun fact is the Burma Museum. Another fun fact is I played in this creek over here, which is really a wet weather creek. It used, I don't know, it may still run on it all the time, but explore your city. If you ever come here, go look for Dan and tell him you saw this video, and he'll say, I ain't got a clue who that is. Or go look for Sarah. She doesn't know me. I kind of know her. I've seen her at events. Or Amy, you know, she's the one that gave Simon a chance to. And the only reason he kind of stopped doing this is, I don't know, he wasn't bored. He's like me. He's always been kind of shy and not wanted to be the center of attention. So I think he was, you know, there's just a bunch of young girls working here, and or college girls who are old ladies to his little kid. But anyway, so he just got embarrassed. But there is, oh man, they got a gate. I knew they had a gate, but I forgot I was going to take you for a little drive up there just to look around. I'm glad they got a gate. Yeah, I'm glad. Anyway, this John B. Lagarde dude, I believe, donated all this land and started this thing with all the animals that he had hunted all over the world. Whether you're for that or against that, I'm not a fan of it, but it turned out to be an incredible thing for learning, from a learning perspective. This is interesting. I forget, I always call them Muskogee, but they're not. That's not what they are. That's a mallard that just popped up. That is the male. Male mallards have all the pretty colors. The two ugly ducklings next to it. I don't have anything to eat. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. I got a biscuit this morning. Crazy early. And I never eat it all. Okay, those aren't quite ugly ducklings. Those aren't the old... Oops, sorry. That's a biscuit on the back. It looks like somebody is spoiled. There's probably a sign over there that says, don't give the ducks biscuits. Man, that is the fattest mallard I've ever seen. Oh, fat mallard, wham-a-lam. Oh, fat mallard, wham. Look at that thing. Dude, you gotta fly. Fly to the angels, go. Be free. See, it doesn't have to go anywhere, it just stays here. The creek is right over there. There's some awesome pieces of red clay in that creek. You can get them and take them and let them dry and make some pretty cool carvings out of them. You know, I had to change batteries. Fun fact was the Burma Museum. Oh, another fun fact. I started a second YouTube channel years and years and years ago, and it was Explore Your World. And of course that right there in front of you says Explore Your City. Then I noticed not long after that, maybe a year or two, the Anniston Museum and Gardens started, their little logo was Explore Your World. So I thought, okay, I'm not gonna do this. So anyway, I didn't ever put anything else on that thing, on that channel. But the Berman Museum is full of stuff by a guy who's named Farley Berman. My grandmother, who was, I guess she's a little more, what's the word, affluent. She was involved in everything and everything to do with Anniston back then. She was good friends with Farley, and he lived around the corner from her. And I remember as a kid I was fascinated. This guy had 2 or 3 Rolls Royces in his garage. A modest house for such a wealthy man. Actually a tiny house compared to what people get nowadays, you know, when they have a $400,000 house. His house, there's top of the river on the right. People come from far and wide to put that food into the hole below their nose. It's worth it. I can only do it about once every 6 months because I always overeat and I have to go get my stomach pumped afterwards. But I was going somewhere to show you something. Dad's Barbecue on the left. Absolutely phenomenal barbecue. If you like barbecue, you won't go anywhere else unless you have to eat there. They got smoked chicken. That's good too, but that's not important. Everything else up here is pretty much gone out of business. But Farley had all these guns and things from all over the world. I don't know what he did. I think he may have been in the service or something. I don't know his whole story because I was a little kid. But my grandmother, she was a switchboard operator, and I'm trying to get this thing straight. And my understanding is that a switchboard operator was when you call Mount Pilot or someone in Mount Pilot, they would pull the plug out from your house and connect you with Andy in Mount Pilot, or say Mayberry to Mount Pilot. Andy was in Mayberry. So this is rolling into downtown Anniston on a street called Quintard. But that's what my grandmother is. She's a switchboard operator, and then she made her way up to high in the ranks of, I don't know why, Bell, it ain't Bell South, Southern Bell. God, what was it called? I'm thinking, sorry. To where I believe she worked in Birmingham. I don't know a lot. But my granddad, as I have told you in the past, he was blind, and he lived, this was before they married, I'm losing my my tot here. My tot is my train of thought. Anyway, we're not even going to go over there. But my granddaddy worked at this post office right past this church on the left, the Anniston post office, and had a little candy stand where he sold candy, cigarettes, cigars, magazines, and newspapers. Right there on the left, I only can barely see it. And when we were coming over, he'd bring home a little brown bag that had a candy bar in it and a couple pieces of gum. And it was phenomenal. Actually, when he passed, they made a Bob Wessinger Day for the city of Anniston. So there's a day that commemorates him. It was a big deal back then. Today, nobody remembers and nobody knows, but I do. So now I want you to see something else. We'll end this video in a minute, I promise. But back on City Council for Anniston, I'd love to be a part of it. I'd love to see the city grow and become, you know, desirable to go hang out in and work in and live in. Actually, right next to, well, that's more Oxford, but anyway, West Anniston is looking a lot better than it used to. I wish they would take and do more renovations to the streets and everything in West Anniston, but it hasn't happened yet. So let's move on down to here. I'm pretty much giving you the rundown. It looks like a few more people are waking up. I bet they're riding around with cameras too, just talking to themselves. It's hard to tell. We don't live in Anniston, but Anniston is where we do a little bit of our running around to do stuff. There used to be a Sonic on the left right back there, and that's where everybody would go cruise in the 80s. There were so many cars, they would line up down this road, of course, on the other side of the street. And of course the old people hated it. And I guess it gave the owner, who I come to know later on in life when I became an adult, super nice guy. And I guess he shut it down just because of the, I don't know, maybe there were too many kids, maybe they weren't buying anything, I don't know. So if you roll over this hill, oh wait, let's back up. Farley Berman. So I guess when he passed, everything went to, they made that the Berman part of the museum. And it's absolutely amazing. It's full of tons of old weapons and just things from all over the world, which is pretty fascinating. I've only seen one collection that's, well, no, I've seen a couple. The Ohatchee Museum is pretty impressive. And the other one's at Chickamauga Battlefield in North Georgia. So this is when you go over the bridge, you roll into Oxford. Oxford's come a long way, some of it. If you haven't been to downtown Oxford in a while, we'll go there another day. Don't worry about that big hole in the road. Those are made so that I can give people money to get my alignment redone. I don't like to go around potholes in the road. If I did, then I wouldn't be able to give my money to people who do alignments and balance tires. On your right is Oxford High School. There was like 126 graduates there. I think this truck behind me is going to crash me, but that's okay. There was like 126 graduates when I went there. Now it looks like a castle. I got a castle in Brooklyn, that's where I dwell. Sorry, that was my inner Beastie Boys coming out. But before the gates were closed, let's get turned around, and Martin's parking lot. None of that was there when I was a kid, except for one of the top buildings up there on the left. See, I don't even remember it. It looks so different. But you would drive in right here, and you would drive straight ahead, and you turn right, and the parking lot was over there to the right, and that big 6-column monstrosity wasn't there. And then there there was a big hill to the left. I only went here about a year and a half. I came here from Germany, and then right after I got here, I think I went to school one day. I went and walked around, and I don't know, I saw people saw me. I went there for like one day on a Friday, and then I was in a car accident, spent a few days in the hospital, and a long time at home recovering with a cast and other things that helped me stay together, because my parts were all in their own places. Yeah, it wasn't like this when I was itsy bitsy teeny weeny wearing yellow polka dot bikinis. Back then it was okay. The crazy thing about it is even though I only went to school one day, a lot of people came to see me in the hospital because I guess the story had made its way around. Not from cell phones. Back then, there were horses that would carry these stone tablets. And when news broke, there were people that would hammer stuff into these stone tablets and ride around and pass the news to different people, who would in turn put it on these scrolls with these different seals, similar to the 7 seals in Revelation, but you didn't have to have anyone with such authority as Jesus Christ to open the seals. It could be anybody. If you don't know the story of the seals in the book of Revelation, there were 7 seals that had to be opened, and the scroll would be rolled, then it would have a seal, then it would roll some more, then it would have another seal, then it would roll some more, all the way up to 7 seals. So as you unrolled it, you had to have someone of authority to open the seals, each one at a time. And that's where, if I'm not mistaken, the abomination of desolation and all this stuff comes from in the book of Revelation. I remember Mr. Landers, before all this stuff was there, taught horticulture here. That's about all I remember. I remember the lunchroom was over here, and that may still be the lunchroom right there. Like I say, I went to school only a year and a half here. I was in the band. I was from another planet, according to a lot of people here. I didn't dress like them, walk like them, or talk like them. But I had some good friends. I made a couple of good friends, and who I still see and talk to today. I forget the whole story I was telling you. I don't know where the scrolls thing came from in my head. Oh, news that travels fast. That's the way it traveled back then. Sometimes I have to put my brain in rewind and start over. You know, since we're here, let's take a quick run through Oxford down here. You want to? Let's do it. Stop all the way, because if I don't stop all the way, someone will call me out and put it in the comments. That's happened before. People get sometimes really mad at me for not completely stopping at stop signs. And my thought is, it's only like $276 if you run it. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding that it's $276. I'm kidding that I don't run stop. I try not to run stop signs anymore. I don't just blatantly run them. But as for potholes, hold on, here's one. Okay, good, we got it. I've had a couple of tickets for running stop signs, and it is nearly $300. So I don't do that anymore because I get distracted. I ride around doing stuff like this. This is downtown Oxford now. It was on its last egg for a long time, and now it's been rejuvenated and rejuvenated. That is the performing arts thing. I forget what it's called. Oxford, they call it OPAC because people have acronyms. OPAC's their little sea's about to fall down, but there's a lot of famous peeps that go there. But check it out. Doesn't it look neat? Isn't it a neat little town now? It's all cleaned up. There's stuff to do, places to go, people to see. There's Lake Coin des Artistes. Let me tell you what else is impressive. If I can remember how to get there. Oxford has its own Ferris wheel. There's an ice cream shop too. There used to be an ice cream shop. Where did it go? Ferris wheels, if you don't know, were named after, there was a movie a long time ago, Ferris Bueller. And he named the wheels. It's not that big. For me, it's that big. Because I don't like to be high in the sky. Looking at you, I can read your mind. Territorium. The fellow that owns that is actually a really nice guy. He's got a cool Jeep that he didn't want to sell to me. But he's still a nice guy. So this is downtown Oxford now. This is probably going to wrap it up. There used to be a bait shop here on the right. Stinson's Bait Shop. And there was a Stinson jeweler right across the street. Now it's Alfalfa Insurance. That you have to have horses and use alfalfa grass to do insurance purposes there. But there was a bait shop to the right. It was amazing. Everybody was so nice. And you could take your bait caster in there, and for $2 you could hand him a mess and he'd re-spool it. It's pretty cool. Alright, let's get out of here. I could ride around with you all day and tell you so many more stories, but I'm about out. And my phone's going to be ringing in a few minutes. Got a pretty good stretch to get back to the base camp. But that's it. I don't even know where we started this journey and where it ends. I guess it won't ever end. Oh wait, I can't stop this video. Let's pull over right here, right now. I want to show you something. I've become friends with the lady who sends me all the stuff from ThruNite. She goes by the name of Jessica. Like, for some reason, a lot of people in China do when they're reaching out to you, wanting you to peddle their wares on your YouTube channel. They say, hey, this is Jessica from this company or this company or this company or whatever the company is. And I don't know why it's always Jessica. Oh, I thought I broke this. This. Sorry, I had to wipe your mouth off. You had a lot of stuff on your face. This is an itsy bitsy teeny weeny ThruNite Keychain Knife. It is ridiculously sharp and crazy small. She sent me 2 of them. This one has kind of a holographic effect. Is that a word? Sounds like some sort of dinosaur movie. But it is seriously smart. I'll put the link. Smart. It's sharp. It semi-locks, but you can also close it with a click. Oh. I don't know. If you have any interest, it is called the ThruNite. I don't have my glasses on. Lock. I mean, the ThruNite knife. Isn't it cool? And so little bitty and rinky dinky. It fits in this little tiny pill box that you could probably swallow if you really, really tried. Now, like the crows. Look at all the crows over there. I love being out in the morning. until people start waking up. Somebody said, why aren't all these birds flying south? And I reminded them, and gently and sometimes a little more aggressively with other kind yet aggressive words. We are south, dude. Thanks for watching my videos.